All right, welcome everyone. If you're working in the world of event-driven systems, you already know Apache Kafka is an absolute beast. But you also know that with all that power comes a whole lot of complexity. So today, we're going to dive into how the Spring framework gives us this incredible toolkit to wrangle some of Kafka's biggest, most critical challenges. Let's figure out how to tame that stream.
So here's the game plan. We're going to start by looking at the real-world problems you face in these event architectures. Then we'll see how Spring-Kafka swoops in to make life easier. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of guaranteeing data integrity, and then figure out how to actually see what our system is doing. And of course, we'll cover how to test all this with confidence, and we'll wrap up with a little peek into the future.
Okay, so first things first, let's set the stage. Working with event-driven systems, it's not always a walk in the park. It's this whole landscape of complexity, tough decisions, and some pretty serious trade-offs that can honestly make or break your entire application. And you know, this quote from a recent research paper just nails it. It perfectly captures what some people are calling a benchmarking crisis. As developers, we're often just flying blind, trying to compare different tools, Kafka, Pulsar, serverless options, without any real standardized way to measure them. And that, of course, leads to a ton of uncertainty. This table really brings those tough choices to life. I mean, just look at Kafka. You get insane throughput, super low latency, but then you see that hidden cost. The research shows it takes, on average, 2.3 full-time engineers just to manage it. That's huge. On the flip side, serverless is cheap to run, but that latency is way higher. You can see there's no silver bullet here. It's all about navigating these trade-offs.
And this is where our hero enters the scene. Spring for Apache Kafka. You can think of it as a toolkit that's specifically designed to take all those familiar, powerful concepts from the Spring world and apply them to tame the wild complexity of Kafka. And the difference is like night and day. On the left, you've got the raw Kafka client world. Tons of manual config, boilerplate code you have to write over and over, and really tricky error handling. But on the right, with Spring Kafka, we get these beautiful high-level abstractions, like the Kafka template, and, my personal favorite, the magic of the @Kafka listener annotation. It literally turns a plain old method into a super sophisticated message consumer. It's all about writing less code that does way more work. Okay, let's dig into our first major challenge. This is a big one. How in the world do you guarantee that a message gets processed exactly one time? No data loss, no accidental duplicates. This is absolutely crucial for things like financial transactions. You can't get this wrong. The normal flow seems simple enough, right? You read a message, you do some business logic with it, like, say, updating a bank account, and then you write the result somewhere else. In a perfect world, this would work every single time. Yeah, but we don't live in a perfect world, do we? What happens if your app crashes right after you've processed the logic, but just before you've written the results? What do? Do you reprocess the message and risk charging a customer twice? Or do you just drop it and lose the transaction completely? That is the nightmare scenario. The solution has a name: exactly once semantics. And Spring Kafka pulls this off with something called the Kafka-Aware Transaction Manager. Basically, it wraps that entire read-process-write operation into one single atomic transaction. It's just like a database transaction. It either all succeeds or it all gets rolled back. The real magic is that the Kafka message offsets are committed at the exact same time as the database write. It's all or nothing. All right, on to our next big problem. Now that our system is up and running, how do we actually know what it's doing? Because without good observability, you're just flying blind, and you won't spot problems until everything is on fire. So right out of the box, Micrometer, which is the metrics library that Spring uses, it exposes a ton of really valuable Kafka metrics. But as you can see, their names can be a little, let's just say, cryptic. It's a whole stream of data, but what does any of it actually mean? Well, this is what they're telling you. That error dot rate, that's your message failure rate. The latency dot average, that's how long it's taking to send messages. And that records.lag number, oh man, that's one of the most critical ones. It tells you exactly how far behind your consumer is. These are the vital signs for your entire system's health. And this, right here, this is the power of Spring's abstractions in a nutshell. How do you turn on all of this deep tracing and metric propagation? You must have to write tons of complex configuration, right? Nope. You call one single method, set observation enabled true. That's it. One line of code unlocks this entire world of visibility. It's incredible. Okay, our final hands-on challenge. How do you write tests for an asynchronous, message-driven component and actually have confidence that it works? You can't just call a method and check what it returns. It's a whole different ballgame.
This is where a fantastic library called test containers comes in. It lets you spin up real dependencies, like a real Kafka broker and a real MySQL database, inside Docker containers right from your test code. The process is surprisingly simple. First, you define the containers. Second, you use Spring's Kafka template to send a real message. And third, you use a helper library like Awaitly to just wait and poll the database until the change you expect shows up. This gives you so much confidence that the whole thing works end to end.
All right, let's zoom back out for a second. We've seen how Spring helps us tame Kafka's complexity today. But where is all this technology headed? Well, if we go back to that research paper from the beginning, it seems the future is going to be intelligently orchestrated. The paper talks about a system they call AI-enhanced event orchestration, or AIEO. And just look at these results. They are staggering. By using machine learning to actually predict workloads and dynamically adjust resources, they saw a 34% reduction in latency, a 28% improvement in resource usage, and a 42% reduction in cost. These aren't just small tweaks. This is a fundamental game changer. And so this leaves us with a final, kind of wild thought. We've spent all this time learning how to tame the stream with better tools, but what if the next big leap is for the stream to tame itself? Will the systems of the future be managed not by us, but by intelligent agents that can predict, adapt, and optimize everything in real time? It's a fascinating question, and it might just be the next chapter in system architecture.